Bonjour, and welcome to another week of new comic book releases. And you know this is the bit I love. Every week, I get excited. I can't help it. And yes, there is enough crap around for people to moan about, but we don't worry about them. Go elsewhere if you want to. If you want to hear people moaning about comics, go elsewhere, because what I've got is I've got 5 picks that we're going to do a deep dive on. We're going to look at the artwork, we're going to go through storylines, and no spoilers, but I kind of want to try and tantalise you into buying a comic book or 2 or 3. It wasn't a mental week. There's one heavy hitter here that I've got to do a separate video about. Yeah, I've always got a lot to say about not a lot. Anyway, I've got 5 for a deep dive, and I've got 5 also rans that are great. So there's 10 titles here. Let's get right into it, and let's get Star Wars out of the way, shall we? Vader and this Dark Droids storyline. I don't know whether the editors and all that and the creators of this Dark Droids crossover have got their tongue firmly in their cheek. But I think I see you with with the technological it's almost like a robot revolution. That I don't know. There's just an element. There's an element of this storyline, but within this, if you're a Star Wars fan, they link it into the prequel trilogy, and I loved it for that. Loved it. Plot lines. Sean Murphy, he's gone bonkers. He's gone bonkers here. But when you're such a good artist, you can go bonkers. And I know I've slated Frank Miller and Ronin book 2 recently, which was just nonsensical. That is bonkers in a good way. It's almost it's on the way to being I Hate Fairyland, but not as bonkers. And I don't know how to describe it. This could be described as a bonkers week, actually, because the next one, so Batman Beyond, I have got a soft spot for this character, and I know some people, just turn their nose up or ignore him, and what was his name? Terry. Doesn't matter. But I've been really, really enjoying that, and they've brought Court of Owls in, which, if you're a Batman fan, you know how good that Court of Owls storyline is. My old mate Space Lizard put me on to that Court of Owls storyline. I had the comics literally in my collection, but it was until he bought the graphic novels and he said, "I'll read this." And I thought, well, hold on, I've got these comics, but I've never read them. That's because I've got too many. Look, I've got piles and piles. I know. That's the lament of the comic collector. This book continues to be impressive. This is going to be. I don't know why this isn't a hot book, or it's not selling out, and it's not. Whatever praise you can heap onto a comic for storyline and artwork and colouring, everything is spot on. Titan Comics have really hit the sweet spot there with Conan. But I've been a fan from way back, but a lot of people are praising that. And another hit from yesteryear, so we're talking Conan, which obviously is old. It's old school. Come on, they're doing old school really well. These guys here with this one, I've got to admit, I'm not the biggest Transformers fan, but they've hit all the right notes in all the right orders with this one, and written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson. He's done a good job of this. It's not a style. His art style isn't something you would have particularly teamed up with Transformers. It's not tech heavy. It's not anything in particular that suits Transformers, but the storyline, it riffs off the films, it's good. It's good. He knows how to tell a story, the boy. And my also rans, and it's weird that in the Batman Beyond Neo Gothic, it's the Court of Owls. They're going there here as well in this one, and I've mentioned this before in the past. And if you enjoyed those early Batman animated adventures, I don't know what the season 3 is all about. I've got to admit, I don't know what that's all about. But this harks back to the best of what made it work. That cartoon series, and it's really good. It is very, very good. I've mentioned it before. Just decent storylines. They're not writing down to an audience where they're thinking, oh my god, it's just like a few kids that, it's a cartoon and all that. They're honestly, they are not doing that. If you're a Batman fan and you like Batman animated, do yourself a favour and pick that one up. Sacrifices. I've mentioned this one before in previous reviews. Again, it continues to be solid. Well worth. And this next one, it keeps surprising me. I'm just waiting for this comic book to let me down. Red Goblin. And there's just something about the storyline and the character that I just love. I just find endearing. And it's Alex Packnadell writing the storyline, Chris Campanella and Roberto Poggi on the art, and David Curiel. I don't know why I've suddenly done all credits. Anyway, that is well worth your time. There's just something a bit fresh about how they're approaching the storyline, and they're not ashamed of what it is. They're not ashamed to have a youngster involved and with the symbiotes and all the rest of it. But anyway, been enjoying that. This was a good issue. And again, I have mentioned this in the past, so that's why I'm giving it some again. There's a lot that kicks off in this issue. And Cleo is front and centre, and I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. And it's bringing forth her natural instincts, shall we say. But that, I've had a moment or two with that latest Doctor Strange run, but I've got to say that's only when the normal team hasn't been on it. Now they're back on it. That is good. And the big beast release of this week is Gods. Now, I'm going to do a separate video on this one, guys, because obviously, as you can appreciate, this isn't in my top 5. It's not because it isn't any good, but at $10, you've got to bring it. And page count wise is well worthwhile. art style. The guy, what is it, Valerio? Shit eye. I'm going to say shit eye because if I say it another way, YouTube algorithm's going to pick me up and say that I'm swearing in my videos. And my comic reviews are very clean and respectable, and I'm going to keep up that track record. So I'm going to do a separate video on that, but I've always got a lot to say, but this one, guys, we're in the magic realm. There are a lot of writers and artists at the moment that are liking the magic side of, I don't know, storytelling, whatever you want to call it, including Mark Millar, who's been doing his Magic Order stuff over with Image. And I don't know if Jonathan Hickman is too late to it, because there are a few people that are going down the magic route. You know, I just mentioned Doctor Strange. He's spot on doing it very, very, very well. I don't know if the DS in GODS of Gods is Doctor Strange. I don't know if it's gathering of Doctor Strange friends. But they couldn't put the F in it. I don't know where that come from. Anyway, so the first 5 that I've done, we are going to do a deep dive, and we're also going to do cover of the week. But before we do that, before I roll the scroll, I'm going to thank you, over 20,000 nutty, mental, sexy subscribers. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And all of you lot, it's building up, but we're still not quite there yet, gang. Come on. We're still not quite there yet with the comments and getting into it. And you give me the thumbs up, and you know I love you all. But come on. Let's start talking about it. For some reason, you're like the silent audience, and it's like, after every video I'm thinking, right, who's got something to say about that? Perhaps I'm not being provocative enough. Maybe not in these videos because I'm gushing and I'm loving it all. Anyway, thank you, liking, commenting, subscribing. You know I love you all. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And after the scroll, we're going to look at the five top bad boys of the week and decide on what we think is the best cover. If we only had pocket money for one comic and we had to do that spinner in the newsagents or the drugstore, as they say in the US of A, if we could only buy one comic, it was always the cover. Come on, guys, when we were a kid. And girls, I suppose. It's a new age. If we only had pocket money for that one comic, what would it be? You've got the spinner, you're looking at the covers, and they'd be boring, and there'd be one that attracted your eye. That's the one that we talk about in cover of the week. So hopefully I won't bore you too much, and you can stay to the end. We decide what's the cover of the week out of all of this lot. So join me after the scroll for the top 5 deep dive. Right, so let's start with this crazy, and it is a crazy, this Dark Droids storyline is an absolutely crazy, mad as anything storyline, infecting all the robots in the Star Wars universe across all of the titles and etc. What I did like, I think I've been through this before. What I will say is this art, the art team, Raffaele Enrico and Federico. Anyway, Greg Pak writing, all that lot, yeah, including the lettering, have done it's a stellar job. I've been enjoying this Vader run anyway, but it gives us, they're doing this takeover of the Star Wars universe via the robots. So yeah, something's infecting the storyline, and he's got the shield and the staff now, old Vader, because and his false powers have been all over the place in the last few issues up until this crossover. And like I say, just a great action-packed issue of comics, but all the while moving the story forward. And this is the bit that I really did love. And I know it's a member berry. I know it is. I know it's a member berry. But I really did enjoy this hark back to the films, tying it right in. And then back to the Emperor, and then tying it right in again. You could dismiss this comic as being a bit of a throwaway, a member berry, and they're just doing that to. But no, I tell you what, and I'm just flicking through this. I think this artwork is glorious. I really do, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this particular issue. The Vader title out of all the Star Wars Marvel titles at the moment has been top of the shop, and yeah, I've just really enjoyed it. He's struggling at the end, but he's not going to be struggling forever. He's going to chop the head off a robot and overcome. No, droid, I am everything. But obviously I'm showing you this kind of stuff out of context, but you get the gist of why I'm enjoying it. I hope. So yeah, and it's a mad storyline that within the Star Wars universe, but nowhere near as mad of a storyline as this from Sean Murphy. I love Sean Murphy, and he's written and drawn and inked and everything. This, I don't know if he's coloured it. No, colours by Matt Allensworth. So, and Dave Stewart, two stalwarts of colouring. But this is Sean Murphy's baby, and this is a mental. I think I've done issue 1. This is only issue 2. And it's about a group of characters that could kind of go in and out of the storylines of books. And yeah, they're the kind of, but I hope you can hear the confusion in my voice, because it's mad. It's a mad idea, which I love. And if it wasn't Sean Murphy's artwork backing it up, I will admit, if it wasn't his artwork backing up this mad, this is how mad it gets. Yeah. Toddlers with machine guns, silenced machine guns. But I love it. But I do love it. So what it means is you can jump between genres and timelines and everything, because they're just going in between books and trying to solve it. That's why it's called plot lines. I'm sorry, guys, I can't explain it any more than that. But what you will get is a fun. It is a lot of fun, honestly. The characters, the issue 1 introduced us to the gang, which has to be the heart of the storyline, and they done well by doing that. And in conjunction with Sean Murphy's, this is the worm that's infecting all the storylines of all the books. So, and yeah, the story ensues from there. I mean, stuff like this. Hold up, a real world editor. It's all to do with. I don't quite
get it yet. But in the meanwhile, I'm enjoying, like I said last time, all of these main characters. I'm really enjoying, but it's backed up by Sean Murphy's artwork. It is mad as a bag of frogs, guys, but it's only issue 2. Just pick up issues 1 and 2 of this. It's so much fun. Honestly, it is. And you will probably have a different interpretation of the storyline than I do, because I don't know. I know I'm getting old. That's why I put the old in geekyOlhog. And who will survive? Like I said in the intro, I have got a soft spot for Batman Beyond, right? And I think I've mentioned this before. This run, this Neo Gothic run, they're doing a good job of it, guys. Honestly, they are. They've introduced us to this new character, and it's a bit like Alice in Wonderland down the rabbit hole. And this particular rabbit hole is Batman Beyond and the Court of Owls, of which we have. Well, if you're a Batman fan, a modern Batman fan, you know what I'm talking about. And again, but they just go back into a different kind of haunting. They say that, do you remember what the Court of Owls did to Gotham and Bruce Wayne and all the rest of it? And it's just the creepiest. It's just a very well conceived and a very well conceived and what's the word I'm looking for? And delivered storyline, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. This new character here, because obviously old Terry's gone into the lower depths of Gotham to find these missing kids, and now the Court of Owls is saying, well, you ain't going to find these missing kids, look at that. And I know we've had, as if we haven't had another Night Terrors, but guys, honestly, believe me, this is worthy. It's worthy of your time and money. Look at it. It's beautiful. I think the artwork is stunning. I really do. And it might just be because I've got a soft spot for Batman Beyond. But this is, and I thought it was going to lead into Poison Ivy and, because of what's going on. But it's too tech heavy for that. And then we get a bit of background to this character. Right at the beginning, Terry's asking this new character, what's your story? And here we go. It's got all this, inglorious Technicolor, and then bosh, black and white. Oh, here we go. Getting a bit of backstory, and look who it is. Not Constantine. He's end of days Constantine. So yeah, and I'll leave it there. I'm like fling, and then fwing. When the letterer is enjoying himself or herself as much as the writer and artist, I think this is glorious. I think this is beautiful stuff. And it's going to be overlooked. It's a book that will be overlooked. Batman Beyond Neo Gothic. But again, do yourself a favour. Maybe wait for a graphic novel, but whatever. In the meanwhile, I'm absolutely loving that. I can't love it as much as Conan, because Conan is one of the. I bought issue 3 of the Marvel comics, Conan the Barbarian. That was the first major back issue I bought, and it was for my 16th birthday. My mum bought it for me. I don't know how much it was. And this book just harks back to everything that made, not the Barry Windsor Smith run, the first couple of dozen issues, but the John Buscema run that followed it. And I know I've gushed about the artwork, but it can't rely on just the artwork alone. It needs Brissa is a great new addition to the Conan pantheon of characters, and this storyline is just great. It really does roll. It just gets on with it. And in this issue, he rescues some of his Sumerian his Sumerian compatriots, but we get sword and sorcery in this story. And I tell you what, old Jim Zub makes this look easy. He makes it look so easy, and they're just doing enough with the gore, with the violence in these storylines, but it's a beautiful thing, and it's dense, it's rich. Look, you could accuse it of being too word heavy, but believe me when I say it is not. It is not. And oh my God, is it False of Doom's return? You know, they do riff in this issue. To be fair, they do riff off of the first movie quite a bit when Arnold and the Blonde Bird they're going into False of Doom's lair, and the music's playing, and they're all they're cloaked up anyway. But it riffs off it, and it riffs off it nicely. This is just and a beautiful colouring job, by the way. But it cannot be underestimated how beautiful a book this is. Dean White on the colouring. I mean, just the opening page, colouring wise, around Brissa's eyes, and you just like Rob Delatore's artwork on this. It's almost like he sucked the soul out of John Buscema. It's almost like there's some sorcery afoot. And look at that for a double splash page. If you want a Conan book, this is what you want. Look, a head flying, blood gushing, zombies are running, swords and axes are oh yes, look, and a mystic sword and sorcery. That says it all. Slay them all. Come on. Don't get better than that. It does not get better than that. Loving that. They've got a proper hit on their hands if they carry on with that. And I think this is another hit. This is another hit on their hands. And I think they knew it anyway. And they've been planning it, Image. And I will say, full disclosure, I'm not a big Transformers fan. I haven't followed it from year dot. And it's as you imagine, as you may have, thought that I may have done. But no, I haven't been a Transformers fan since the 80s. I did grow up with it all around me, etc., etc. Daniel Warren Johnson is the writer and artist on this book. And again, like with Conan, I was saying he's riffing off the kind of cinematic stuff that we kind of know and love. They're doing that here as well. Daniel Warren Johnson is doing that. I'm not saying he is relying on the films. I'm just saying there's an element of the human story following our main character and his friend, these two. I'm just saying, and his dad. They're just following the human story through what will be a fantastic. So they stumble on this. Look at this. And I didn't think his art style was going to suit Transformers, but it does. It works. Honestly, guys, it works. And for me, I'm not a big Transformers fan. It's only Void Rivals. old Kirkman's book that's making me want to read this, because normally I wouldn't bother. I've enjoyed the first, 3 or 4 films, but I'm not a collector. I'm not a fan. I'm not on board with it. I don't know the lore and the history. I don't know the cartoons, and I don't know everything about every character. But you don't need to. That's what I like about this first issue, and that's why this one's my book of the week, because I didn't think the art style would suit the genre, but it does. It just makes somehow it refreshes it. It's a refreshing view of stuff like this. Katong. Great sound effect, guys. But it's an action-packed first issue. Honestly, it gets going. It gets going, and it's crammed, and it's because it's been given heart through our main character, and they've realised that's what you've got to do. You can't follow a gang of robots. You can't do it. It's like Judge Dredd. You can't follow a gang of judges. You need a hook. Terminator. You can't follow. You can, but it doesn't last long. It doesn't look. It's glorious stuff. Look, they really, really didn't hang around, and I'm really glad they've taken it, because I think this is a risk. I think this is a risky venture for whoever owns the rights to Transformers to give this over to Daniel Warren Johnson. I really do, because I don't think that is a typical clean computer generated and coloured vision of what you would imagine the Transformers to be. Anyway, that is my book of the week. I really didn't. It's a proper romp, and it's not afraid. It's not afraid to own up and put its hands up to what it is, which is that. It doesn't avoid it. But is it the cover of the week? I hear you cry. Or is it Conan, old Dougie Braithwaite? I know there's a million covers, and I don't know how many million covers. These are just the covers, but we've got to hark back to, like I said in the intro, you've got limited pocket money, and there weren't that many great covers this week, to be fair, guys. But you've got limited pocket money. You've got the pocket money for one comic, and you're going through that spinner, you're spinning it round and round, as Dead or Alive once sung. But what are you looking for? What's going to entice you? Like, is this little kid with a machine gun and a cigar and a blue tiger? Is this going to do it? Is Conan going to do it with a broken sword with blood splattered all over it? The world on fire behind a Transformer, behind Optimus Prime. I don't know. As always, this guy on the covers for Red Goblin, and I'm going to forget his name all day long. But look at this for a cover. And I know it's Halloween as well, so maybe. But other than that, I mean, there weren't many superhero like heavy covers, but this I thought was quite glorious. The Clear and Doctor Strange. I mean, there's a lot going on here, and this mysterious geezer here. There is a lot going on for a cover on a comic. But is it exciting on that visceral level? That's exciting on the visceral level all day long. Red Goblin. I know Conan is as well, and I know, but it is just that, isn't it? It's a man there holding a sword, or is it a blue tiger holding a sword with his mate with a machine gun? again, we're down to 2. And I've got to admit, all day long, I think that's this Red Goblin between. Unless you're a Transformers fan, that would work. That's a great cover, and it's my book of the week. But that is a beautiful thing. That would be getting me. That would be getting me to want to open up that book all day long as soon as I clapped eyes on it. What the hell is going on there? So that's my cover of the week. So Transformers book of the week, Red Goblin cover of the week. If you followed me this far, guys, thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. And until next time, I will bid everyone adios.